Hey, today we'll cover the latest major order together and talk about how it was hacked, because some players actually have reported back that the MO has been completed way faster than it was supposed to be. So we'll go over the mission briefing, not only that, but we'll also discuss the support team members' response to a sample bug and much more. If you like what you see in the video, tap the thumbs up button below, aka the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now, there's a player on Reddit that actually did the math here. For instance, right here, Texas C4 said 30 common samples and 20 rare samples per mission at the rate of 2 missions per hour. A single group player can collect 5,520 common samples or 3,680 rare samples. This player continued on to say Nival solos groups needed 8,152, giving us a player count of 8,152 to 32,609. For Earths and Sands, solo groups needed 4,076, giving us a player count of 4,076 to 16,304. And last but not least, for Crimsica, solos groups needed 2,717, giving us a player count of 2,717 to 10,870. So then this player went on to say that this would require a total amount of 14,946 to 59,783 players to maintain until the deadline. So that right there is probably a rough estimation, but when it comes down to it, we do not have that many players as of right now. I mean, if you were to look at the Steam player count, it's currently at like 32,000 with its 24-hour peak, and then right now I believe there's only 27,000 players online. So there's a big difference between the estimated numbers and what we actually have. However, about an hour later, for some strange reason, the common samples were magically collected within an hour, and the third goal had increased by a quarter. Now, some are suggesting that this is due to hackers, while others think the developers may have made a mistake. Is it possible? I think so. They've done it before with the Terminate major order in the past that required us all to exterminate a certain number of bugs. Well, it turned out at the time, the game was actually triple counting the kills, and perhaps that is what we're seeing here. On the other hand, it could be that the hackers or modders are increasing the numbers of samples collected in one session. With that being said, let's get back to the numbers, because they have continued to skyrocket and have increased so much that the third goal on the list is now completed. I'm not really too sure what to say here, guys. I think there's a good chance that the game has been hacked, and the numbers have increased because of that. On the other side of the coin, there's a chance that the samples could be triple counted, just like the Terminate MO was with the bug kills. Now, about 30 minutes later, the major order has now been completed. As of right now, support team member B Vitamin has reported this issue to Joel and wrote this on the Helldivers 2 Discord. I've informed Joel, but don't know anything else at the time. I'm not going to start making guesses at what happened will happen, because if it turns out I was wrong, I will surely perish. So as of right now, who knows what's going on, but I'm pretty sure it's one or the other, either a fault in the code, or someone has officially hacked the game and collected nearly all the samples. So which one is it? Well, it turns out that the game was actually hacked. So right here it says, Super Earth High Command has detected a large batch of counterfeit samples within the delivery of the last major order. As is customary, medals have been awarded to all Helldivers who have honorably performed their duties, and the ones submitting false samples have had their pet fish summarily executed. Laboratories all across Super Earth space are attempting to filter out the false samples, but the expected scientific advances to combat the spread of the gloom have decreased significantly. As a result of this, worlds near the gloom have begun resettlement protocols. So yeah, it turns out that it's not the developer's fault, but the game was actually hacked. Speaking of samples, there's a potential bug running amok, and apparently some players are claiming that they're unable to properly extract with samples. The support team member over on Helldivers 2 official Discord had this to say in the Mission Tactics channel. B Vitamin wrote, "Howdy Helldivers, has anyone ran into a situation on difficulty 10 where you are able to get more than one confidential data in a mission, causing rewards to bug out? If so, please DM me, I'm investigating this and have questions." Then there's a member on the Discord that asks, is it a bug? And support team member responded with, people are saying samples aren't awarded if this happens, so I'm looking into it on the dev's behalf. Please send me a DM if you've had multiple bot heads bug larva spawn in one mission. Alright, as you can see, there are some issues surrounding the confidential data. I wasn't aware of this until recently because I cannot stand to be on the Automaton planet after the latest update, especially because you guys know how the new barrage tanks work. They do not have a weak spot on them like the normal tanks do, but hey, I digress. So the item is completely bugged, and this has been reported on Reddit by a player who said, confidential data is bugged, all mission samples can be lost. Then this player went on to say, it's possible for 3 confidential datas to spawn inside of the Automaton fortress. However, extracting with more than one of them causes the game to glitch out. You will be awarded none of the samples from that mission that you collected. This occurred 3 times to my group last night. Each time we received nothing. In the post-mission screens, the operation status will glitch to show 3 ICBM mission symbols. It will then skip samples collected screen and finally put you back on the ship. Skipping the stats, your sample count will not change. And to show some further proof, there's a player on Reddit who also posted this image right here that clearly shows 3 skulls, which are confidential datas. This right here, I've never seen something like this on the Terminid side with the Mega Nest, so I believe this is mainly an issue with the Automaton planets only. If you have experienced this as well, let me know in the comments below. Next, the community is actually helping out the developers with their known issues. As you all know, recently the latest hotfix included some known bugs, and the Escalation of Freedom update, the patch prior to the hotfix, also had some known bugs as well. There's a Reddit member here who posted this with a title that says, other known issues not included in the official known issues 1.001.003. With that said, here's what Arrowhead hasn't mentioned in their known issues yet. Weapon damage reduced when walking backwards. This first one, I wasn't even aware was a bug, and I wasn't even sure if that's even possible, but I guess it is. The second one is, enemy weapons sometimes shoot through terrain. This right here I've noticed quite a lot with factory striders, and sometimes those smaller enemy types. Now, especially if you're behind cover, right, and there's a grenade thrown, it will still knock you back regardless, which is pretty crazy because, you know, there's supposed to be this whole idea that the game is supposed to be realistic, right, and it's supposed to have realism, but that right there, I don't think that's real. But anywho, coming up at number 3, we have players can become stuck on the sides of the Pelican ramp. This one specifically I haven't encountered just yet, thankfully, because that sounds terrible. But yeah, this right here is another known issue that isn't on the Arrowhead list, essentially. Anyways, number 4, Nuke Nursery mission can soft lock from an uninteractable terminal. This one has been around for quite some time. Surprised it's not been fixed just yet. But yeah, that one's been around since the mission was first released. So yeah, it's been quite some time. Number 5, cause of death wronged frequently. This right here, I believe this player is talking about the issue where it pops up and it says that you actually took yourself out instead of, you know, the robot or a bug. So that's pretty much what that is. Number 6, player armed hell bombs don't always explode when destroyed. Yeah, this one's pretty common, guys. So what this is right here, if you guys do not know, you can actually activate a hull bomb and walk away and shoot it and it will explode, or if, you know, an enemy does it, that can also happen. But yeah, now you can actually explode these hell bombs. But the developers, I guess, did not put enough testing into it, or the QA team didn't. And so yeah, as of right now, sometimes those hell bombs will not explode. Number 7, cannot dive to prone while swapping weapons. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this one specifically. I don't recall experiencing that one either. The next one says enemies can spawn within eyesight of players. Yeah, this is pretty common as well. The next one says players cannot be muted while they're selecting their loadout. That's not a big deal for me. Spear missiles bounce off a factory strider's back cannon barrel without exploding. Then next at number 11, anti-tank mines not damaging automaton tanks. This one's big. I'm surprised the anti-tank mines do not affect tanks. It seems a bit odd because it's an anti-tank mine, right? Am I wrong or am I right? I don't know. You guys tell me that down below in the comments. Anyways, the next one says enemies can get stuck in stomp loops on destructible terrain while pathing. I've seen that specifically with the Hulks. Enemies are missing footstep sounds. Pretty common too. I think that has happened with the Chargers specifically. Continuing forward, map-generated HMG emplacements fire one shot when entered for the first time. HMG emplacement ammo remaining icons use the player's primary weapon icon instead. Grid of coordinates, Terminate minigame does not use F or 6 column row. I really don't see how that's a big issue. I mean, why? I mean, is it? Anyways, the next one says barbed wire damage rounds to 0 when vitality booster equipped. And last but not least, remember aim mode setting and correctly resetting to death or on death. So these are the list of issues that have not been, I guess, reported, or maybe they have, but they're not listed on the known issues. Anyways, there's a lot here on the list I was not aware of. For example, walking backwards reduces damage to something I didn't even know about, and that's just insane. What I would like to know is your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. So if you haven't played in the last 2 weeks or so, you'll notice there is this massive spore cloud on the Galactic War Map that's growing larger each week, and it's sort of pushing towards Super Earth. Now, some vessels were sent into the gloom, also known as the spore cloud, but the vessels never made their way back. For example, right here it says, the massive interstellar spore cloud known as the gloom now occupies massive swathes of Terminid space. All vessels sent into the gloom, both manned and unmanned, have seized radio contact within minutes. Now have returned. We have only one remaining recourse. The Helldivers must procure samples of Terminid organic matter from the planets closest to the gloom. What you may notice is that the briefing talks about collecting samples, and I'm not entirely sure if this was the right major order to give us, because as you guys have heard, it's been hacked. But also considering almost everyone has maxed out on samples and has completely upgraded their ship. Recently, I upgraded my entire ship and now have no need to collect samples unless I'm trying to reach the cap limit. However, this new major order requires us all to pick up quite a lot of samples. For instance, right here it says, successfully extract with 45 million common samples on Night 43, successfully extract 15 million rare samples on Earths and Sands, and last but not least, successfully extract with 10 million samples or rare samples on Crimsica. This right here did not settle well with the community. I'll cover a few examples. The first player commented, I'm sure that all the Helldivers stocked to the caps with samples will jump at the chance to participate. The next player said, let Super Earth burn, let the galaxy burn. Another mentioned, if only we had workable flamethrowers to deal with the bug threat, wouldn't that be amazing? And then the last Helldiver wrote, this is why they need to increase the metals, samples, and currency amounts. I'm maxed out and have zero incentive to even attempt it. And as you can tell, not a lot of players were excited about this. I could go on because there was quite a few more comments, but I'm not going to. I will say that the complaints about the flamethrower are justified, but that has nothing to do with the major order, so I completely understand the Helldivers out here who have collected a crap ton of samples and are not motivated by this MO, because to be completely honest, overall I have to agree that the major order does not motivate me one bit, yet even so, I will still help out, or, well, I was helping out, collect samples. I think the Escalation to Freedom update, they should have given us the last and final ship upgrades, or at least hinted at it, so that when this major order came around, they could make the upgrades purchasable, giving players the incentive to actually participate and want to help out. The problem is, I do not see a lot of players trying to help, or at least at the time, because some are just maxed out and don't want to bother doing it. But again, I'm not like that. I will help out regardless, because some Helldivers out here who absolutely want to upgrade their ship all the way, and this gives us, who already done so, the opportunity to help those who need it. And I get it. I completely understand why some players are frustrated, because the last 2 updates were lackluster. Yet I say, give us some time. We'll see how much has been improved in the next 30 days. The next patch is supposed to arrive relatively soon. I recommend checking out the previous video, but do that after you have completely watched this one. With that information being said, this is your Helldivers 2 news. If you guys would like to be featured in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below. The first comment can be found right here. The first one is by a legendary. Remember guys, fire physics were unrealistic and need to be changed, but a cactus being able to blow up a mech is ultra realistic. The second comment is by Divergence. Big difference from No Man's Sky to Helldivers. NMS failure at the start got better with age. Helldivers 2 success at the start got worse with age. Big difference. And last but not least, Deadly Apollo said, turn around, sure, follow these easy steps. Fire Alexis, balance team forced to test all difficulty levels. Community test, checks work. Art and sound development or department, Jesus, keep doing what you're doing. I guess I can't read or talk anymore. Anyways, thank you guys for the support. If you guys have not done so, subscribe, turn on notifications, subscribe, and comment down below so that you can be featured in the next video.